This morning, I thought about something that I've always done, and I realize is like part of some people's program to help you establish a sense of abundance, a feeling of not scarcity when it comes to finances. One of the things that I've always done was if a client pays me with a check and it's not at home, I'll often put it, well, first in my pocket, and then eventually it'll get transferred into my wallet into like the where the bills go. Sometimes I fold it in half, sometimes I leave it intact, like without a crease. And it's actually out of sheer laziness that this happens. And I don't even go to my bank. I actually do, mobile banking, and it's a matter of endorsing it and taking a picture of it. But for whatever reason, that's an actual process in my mind. It's one of those resistant things I have. So they tend to sit in my wallet for a while. In fact, I think the last check that I deposited had sat in my wallet for over a month. Now, what I'm getting at is with that sitting in my wallet, undeposited, I have a sense of abundance. I don't actually need that check in my bank to feel secure financially. I don't need that check in my bank to feel as though I can buy my next or my horse's next meal. It does evoke a little bit of self-criticism because it really is based out of being lazy. So there's times, depending on my mood, where I'll pick on myself for being so lazy that I can't just endorse that and take a picture of it. Like I have that kind of moment. And then if you're doing that, then obviously you move on. You're not going to sit there and try to find a better feeling about the money if really your only problem is that you're mad at yourself for being too lazy. Another thing I do, and this is what provoked this conversation, is sometimes if I have cash that kind of comes out in a pair of pants, I didn't realize, oh shoot, I had money in my pocket. So I had $60 in my pocket, and I took the folded money and threw it in the drawer where my brushes are. And every morning when I dig through that drawer to grab a brush or to grab a hair tie, I see that money. I don't take it. I don't put it in my wallet. I don't put it in my pocket. I leave it there. And I don't leave it there even with that conscious decision of I'll leave it there because it's making me feel abundant. I just don't feel I need to transfer it to my wallet or in my pocket. But because you can see money that you're not finding a way to spend, you feel more abundant. You don't feel so guarded or scared around money when you have money that you aren't even feeling the urge to make available to you if you left your house. Another thing that I do is if I find even a penny on the ground, I say I won the lottery. I'm one penny richer than I was a second before. If I find a quarter, it's like, woohoo, I really won the lottery today. And it's a mind game. One of the teachers that I pay attention to teaches taking $100 bill and putting it in your wallet and spend all day with that $100 bill in your wallet, not with the intention of spending it, but emotionally and mentally spending it all day. So seeing something that's $100 or less and being able to say, I could buy that if I wanted to. I could buy that today if I wanted to. I could buy that today if I wanted to. I could buy that today if I wanted to. Now, you do that 100 times, right? So think about how much money that makes you feel like you have over the course of a day. Now, I've never tried that because I don't really have a feeling of scarcity when it comes to money. I don't, there's times, sure, you go, oh, if something ever happened, you know, would I be okay? Um, Anybody, I think, has that moment, and it's a very like fleeting moment. It comes and goes, but I really don't otherwise like tell myself I can't stop at a convenience store and buy a bag full of junk food and a soda, which I don't really like soda, but my point is I won't feel like I have to assess my finances before I can even stupidly indulge. Okay? I don't feel like I have to assess my finances before I make a purchase somewhere. Now, I also have another rule that I do, and this has been my whole life, is I have to want something for 2 years. And if for some reason, after 2 years, my desire for that item has not gone away, I buy it. I wanted a specific jacket for 2 years. I wanted a pair of boots, specific boots for 2 years. Actually, a couple different times of boots. I wanted a dust buster for 2 years. For more than 2 years. I wanted a string mower again for more than 2 years. And my belief is if I still want it after 2 years, then I must actually want it. Have there been things that I didn't really want anymore after 2 years? Sure. Are there things that have greatly changed? Either evolved or turned out to be obsolete after 2 years? Yes. And have I been grateful that I had my 2-year quirk? Yes. So I don't know if this creates a sense of abundance or not, but I also buy in multiples. So like if I buy a pair of paddock boots, I buy two pair. If I buy like my horse's grain, I buy 3 bags per 1 bag thought, if that makes any sense. So for every bag I want, I actually buy 3 because 3 fit in my can. So I always buy in an interval of 3. So I don't know if that helps create a sense of abundance, but I don't have a feeling of lack of abundance. But yet I'm not like taking baths in money. You know what I'm saying? Something else occurred to me, and I don't know where I was going to go with that, but shoot, and it was good too. I hate when that happens. Oh shoot, well that's terrible because I had something else that just popped in my head, and I lost it. So I guess my thing is if you want to feel abundant, you got to create abundant situations. You got to create a sense of abundance. Even if it's like thinking you won the lottery because you found a penny, just senses of abundance are all you need. And by training your brain to think finding a penny is winning the lottery, you could probably start to create a vibration that would attract more lottery situations for you that you would be successful at. Now, I've never really tried that intently either, but I have so many examples of wanting something or thinking about something and then having it happen. I mean, something perfect example, yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? Might have been day before yesterday. I was driving from a job site to a gravel pit where I was going to pick up stone and then drive back to that job site. From one location to the other was a half an hour, or So, well, from one location to the other was about an hour. About half hour into that trip, I passed a house that had a tree. I actually had two trees that I thought were kind of too close to the house, you know? And I could tell coming up on it that those trees looked like they were too close to the house. Like they were too big of a tree to be that close to the house. And it made me actually pay even more attention as I got closer and even as I began to pass. And as I began to pass, I saw one branch that was basically touching the house. And I was like, man, they really ought to consider trimming that tree because, a branch could go through their window. It could start really, messing with their siding on their house. Like I started to have kind of this, all the reasons why they should consider having a tree guy come out and just trim back some of those branches so that they're not a hindrance to the house. I passed the house, obviously, got to the quarry, got my load, headed back to the job site, and passed that house again. We're saying maybe a half hour of time had passed by. Guess what was there? Yep, tree guys. They were there to tend to the trees that I believed needed to be tended to. I don't know those people. I've never stopped and said, hey, I think your trees need to be trimmed. But yet, from a half an hour thinking it and a half an hour later, it's being done. That stuff is so cool. Now, if you want to write stuff off as coincidence, you go right ahead. But the day that you start to realize that you might have orchestrated that coincidence, that's when it starts getting fun.